Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, those between and those far out, longtime viewers and newcomers alike. Welcome back to the U Idaho Esports Twitch channel. My name is Kaz Phoenix, joined here by Liliana Lopita Johnson for the Vandal pregame show. Today, our guest is the professor of philosophy for the University of Idaho, Bert Baumgaertner. Baumgaertner.
Close.
I can't believe you decided to take on an attempt to.
I don't know. I
pronounce it.
tried. I think it was. I wanted to be earnest anyway. I was thinking like the first four letters of your name reminded me of another like a League of Legends character. His name is Braum. That's where that came from.
It's Baum.
Baumgartner.
It means tree gardener in German.
Oh, is that something that you find yourself interested in at all?
No, not even a little bit.
Do you get that comment often when you tell
No.
people that?
No, I don't get that either. I
Okay.
usually get a question about whether I'm related to like Felix Baumgartner, who did that like
Oh.
crazy like dive from the hot air balloon like many years ago.
Oh.
Or if I'm related to some of the other Baumgartners in town, but they all spell their name incorrectly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, incorrect.
Incorrectly. Yeah, there's-
Well, Bert, it is a pleasure to have you here in the corner joining us tonight. We're glad that we got the opportunity to talk to you in a little bit about your profession, which, speaking of, I would like to do what I more formally call on the show handing over the talking stick. I'm going to allow you to talk a little bit more about yourself, introduce yourself to the audience, and anything else that you think they might want to know about you.
All right. I'm Bert Baumgaertner. I consider myself to be both a cognitive scientist and a philosopher. I work at the intersection of like cognitive science, so asking questions about cognition, and artificial intelligence, trying to understand like what's the difference between like how humans think versus how machines think, and a variety of other sort of related philosophy issues about how language gets its meaning, how we communicate. I'm also really interested in a lot of really fun and old paradoxes as well. There's one known as the Sorites paradox, the paradox of the heap. When do you get a heap by when just adding single grains of sand or rice? Seems like a boring question, but it turns out like it actually has pretty deep implications on how we think of language. So, yeah.
I think your mic is not fully picking up. It is on.
Sorry,
It is on.
guys.
Yeah,
You gotta
there
eat it a
go.
little
Is it
bit
me?
more.
My bad.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
I think
it's
that's
fine.
interesting. I've never heard that.
Well, again, thank you for
Yeah, thanks for having
joining
me.
us today. First question I want to start off is a very, very simple. Where are you from? Because your last name is German.
Yep.
You are bilingual.
Yes.
And you did your doctorate at UC Davis.
Yes.
And I know you did your undergrad at Wilfrid Laurier. but
Wilfrid Laurier.
Wilfrid Laurier.
Yes.
Which sounds French. But I have zero idea. Like you guys were talking Toronto a little bit. Are you from like Eastern Canada?
It's not considered Eastern Canada, just because more central. It's like basically if you draw a line from Detroit and Buffalo, I don't know what the viewers' direction is like. Where they meet is basically like where I grew up, in Waterloo, Ontario. Yeah, I grew up there, was born and raised there by German parents who were immigrants. And so they were both German, and that's how I got my name. In German, if you have my last name, you would have the G-A, and the E, the A would have the two dots, the umlauts above it. But when you translate it to English, it goes G-A-E, which is why I was also teasing. Most people just drop the umlauts, but my parents were a little bit obsessed about like, no, we got to keep it. And, like,
You got to keep it culturally appropriate.
Yes, I born and raised in Ontario, but German family, so we grew up speaking German at home. Spent a lot of time in Germany in summers because that's where all family was. And then I did my undergraduate at Wilfrid Laurier University. In Canada, it's a bilingual country, and so there's lots of like combinations of English and French. Not as much in Ontario, but plenty of that. And then had no idea what it would be like to go to California, but got into graduate school there, and I was like, who doesn't want to hang out in California for a couple of years?
I mean, especially the Bay Area or like Southern Bay, a little bit further away is where the.
Well, it's
is
like
Davis Northern?
Yeah, it's
UC
east
Davis
of
is-
east
yeah.
of San
Oh.
Francisco.
Good basketball school.
I'm embarrassed to say I don't know.
They are.
Oh.
They're good basketball
They
school.
have good viticulture program. They've got a good like wine
Okay,
program,
cool.
whatever. Yeah. But we're actually really close to Sacramento, so we didn't get the beautiful like the Bay Area like temperate temperatures. It was like summers were like 100 104,
Yeah.
110, like brutal.
I grew up
Um,
in Southern California in the Mojave Desert, so I feel a little bit of your pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the coolest thing was, I still remember calling my mom. I was going grocery shopping on my skateboard in the middle of January. And there's no way I could have imagined doing something like that where I'm from in Canada. So
Right.
that
So
was,
then, how long have you been in Moscow?
I've been here since 2013. So
Yes.
that's many,
That's
it's
so
13.
long.
It's
26.
yeah.
That's just about
13.
like 12 years,
Yeah.
which I believe
Yeah, 13 years.
is
That's it.
how long you've been with the university.
Yep.
So you moved up here to work with the university.
Yes.
Was that tied to anything at all? What encouraged the move up
A
to the
job.
Blues? Well, I mean,
Yeah.
of course, yeah, that does make does make sense.
Yeah.
No,
No,
but
I got super lucky. This is not like normal. I worked my butt off in graduate school and got lucky on the job market because I was doing some stuff in philosophy of science and I was doing some stuff in logic and philosophy of language, and this job happened to be a good fit. And so I ended up getting a job here and like, all right, let's
So
move
did
here.
you come to Moscow in the position you're in now?
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
awesome.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
you've been doing
I've been
moving
promoted
up,
into yeah. So I started as an assistant professor.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
so awesome.
Yeah, I'm super grateful. This place is awesome. I didn't know what I was gonna really expect. I still love to tease my friends back at home about like Iowa, and
Okay.
and,
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
you know we do the mix up like you have the Idaho map, but then you have the Iowa tag written on
Right.
top, because they have no idea, and I kind of want to keep it as a good secret because this place I do a lot of trail running, hiking. I love the wilderness areas,
Cool.
and it's an awesome little secret
Yeah.
because you don't have the California.
Right, right, right.
If anybody's listening, this place is absolutely terrible. Please don't come. Stay away. I want to keep the trails for
Yes.
We like a little bit gay community. I can't even blame them.
myself.
I get it. But you also have kind of like moved around North America a lot, as well as a little bit of Europe. I believe you did spend some time with the University of Amsterdam.
I did, yeah.
Earlier in your career, were you in Amsterdam for that? Was that a remote thing?
Yep.
What was that like? I've wanted to go to Amsterdam forever. I just haven't had
Awesome.
the opportunity to go overseas.
If you've never been to like Europe, you have to go. You have to travel. I mean, you need a bit of that culture shock, which nowadays is a lot harder to get. Like I went there and had no internet at the beginning, let alone a phone to be able to like check see where you are on the map. Yeah, in my undergraduate, I did an exchange program in Berlin for a semester. I wanted to be in Germany to really like boost my German language skills, but be away from family who were in the South because I didn't want to feel that obligation to have to go visit every
Right,
single
right.
weekend. Right? And so once I did that, I just fell in love with Europe more broadly and made a bunch of friends. And then so I went back the year after that just to do some like Euro tour. So I visited as many European countries as I could. And then I really fell in love with Amsterdam. They've got a really, really cool program there. So when I was in graduate school, I had a professor who was like, you really should go study there for a little bit if you can, do some research there. And so he basically helped set up like a research fellowship. So I spent I think 4 months there, hanging out with the other graduate students and the professors there, going to presentations and taking classes that were kicking my butt. Yeah, cool.
That was super cool. Yeah, what I was also curious about was you have spent a lot of your educational and your professional career in different fields of philosophy. I don't. Did you do like a hybrid like master's doctorate program, or was it just like straight? Did your undergrad and just straight to your doctorate?
I went straight into my doctorate.
I see.
I did spend 1 year at University of Western Ontario. I went there hoping to do like philosophy of language, studying language. And then the people who I was hoping to work with either left or one of them became sort of ill, and so they were like, if you want to keep doing that, you probably need to go to another place. So that's how I got to Davis.
I see.
But from the beginning, I've always been really interested in a variety of different topics, and I kind of like figure stuff out as you go as well. I mean, it's not that much different than undergrad, but I didn't know what my dissertation was going to be about when I got to graduate school. So you're just like everything's just a little bit more specialized.
That makes sense.
And yeah, I just got really interested in like robots
Yeah.
and trying to be like, what's the difference between a robot and me? And so I mean, there's lots of
important
differences,
questions to
right?
ask
But
nowadays,
yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. I didn't know it at the time, but yeah.
Yeah.
So then, how recently did I understand the study of language and being interested in robots, but the conversation switched to like AI because like I don't remember AI being as prominent as it was even when I was in high school
Mhm.
as it is now.
Yeah.
So like you going into AI, like how soon did that happen, and like how quickly has that come onto you?
So I took a bunch of AI classes when I was in graduate school. I was really
Okay.
interested in trying to understand like what assumptions were being made about how like machines can do things and cannot do
Mm.
things. And wanted to know whether there's anything to learn about how humans might be able to do things or not do things, because the brain is made out of very different stuff from machines.
Hmm.
But there might be certain kinds of capacities that are similar and different, and I want to kind of do that comparison. There's actually, you might enjoy this. There's a competition called Robo Cup, which is trying to build robots to play World Cup level soccer by 2050. I don't know if they've updated their timeline since I
But
was,
Oh.
but,
yeah.
but that's the kind of big goal.
Wow.
Um, and so I took a bunch of like AI courses, and actually ended up writing my dissertation a little bit, being influenced by some of the research that was going on in robotics. And then I kind of got tired of a debate between like what's now called deep learning
Hmm.
and what's known as symbolic AI. Those are just sort of two very different schools of thought. I kind of got tired of the debate and didn't feel like it was making much progress. So kind of just ignored it, or just like just didn't pay attention to it. Got
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
interested in a bunch of other things about like computer modeling. And then yeah, it was definitely by 2023, but probably even by 2022, I'd heard of Google's famous paper now, "Attention is all you need,"
Yes.
and that was like the introduction of large language
Yeah.
models. And then was starting to play around with them for a little bit, and then I've been a big fan of the debate surrounding the Turing test. So
Mm.
I'm familiar with this, but this is can you tell the difference between a human or a non-human in a text-based interface by having some kind of conversation with it?
Hmm.
And it's been like so challenging. There's so many tricks you can play to like
Right.
tell the difference. But in somewhere in 2023, it got beaten. Like it's just like without having an explicit like time point when that
Mm-hmm.
was. So yeah, that's what I was like. Man, I have some catching up to do. I need to know what happened in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
That's basically been the last couple of years.
So in all that debating, like, do you notice like I feel like there's a lot of controversy surrounding AI, especially with like our generation. Like, do you notice that like when you're doing these debates, like, are you trying to debunk? Are you trying to like are there facts we're trying to find? Or like what is the conversation around these debates? Just like if you can, if it's a matter of beating the robot or
One of the big sort of concerns or issues here is the fact that we've basically engineered something that we don't understand,
mm-hmm.
and that doesn't happen very often. Where we
Right.
build stuff that we don't at least have like some way of grasping how it's doing what it's doing. And that's a big issue, because if you want to know, okay, if we're going to have it help with some decisions, if not even make certain decisions on our behalf, you want to know that it's making good decisions, that it isn't exploiting other biases or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And so a huge amount of research now is about broadly what's called alignment. So can we how do we ensure that these systems will make choices, make decisions, or provide feedback, right, in a way that aligns with the values or objectives or desires or goals of humans, right? Whether
Okay.
that's as a collective or whether that's like as a subset for a certain group or even a person.
That
That is
seems
incredibly
crazy.
interesting.
Yeah.
I've never been like so entertained hearing such complex information because this is not easy to take this in.
Oh, it's tough. It's tough. Yeah, and there's lots of other debates about like whether we're gonna get what's called like AGI and whether it'll take over the
Mm-hmm.
world. And
Hmm.
there's some fun stuff, but I consider that to be too close to the science fiction for us to really know how to
Mm-hmm.
make some kind of progress on. Whereas what I'm much more interested in is like no, like we can study a lot of these machines and in various ways,
Yeah.
try to assess like what their capabilities are and aren't.
That's awesome because I'm super into AI, not like in the like specifics of it, but like I just think it's crazy and like I've used like a lot of different platforms like Gemini, like the university just granted like us the premium
Yeah,
for a year, so I got that and I've been like playing
cool.
around with that a lot more than just like the free version of ChatGPT.
Notebook LM. Notebook LM
Oh,
is
it's
the thing to use
so
because
awesome.
it doesn't it does much less in terms of hallucination and confabulation. Because one
Uh,
of the things you want to really be careful about
uh.
is like whether it's giving you accurate answers with respect to the sources that you're giving it. So I
That's
Hmm.
cannot
perfect.
recommend Notebook LM.
Yeah,
Notebook
because that my
LM.
next question was if you could give advice to people in our generation, maybe that are still skeptical about AI, like what would you say?
It depends on what your skepticism is about.
Right.
But if you're worried about the skepticism related to its usefulness, um, you shouldn't be skeptical. Like part of it is not all part of it. A huge amount of it is just the user.
Mm-hmm.
So Notebook LM is really good in that like it does a bunch of things by default and it does give you some feedback on how to interact with it.
Mm-hmm.
But you should never believe the first thing it tells you, no matter which system you're using. You should
Mm-hmm.
always be using it to interrogate it. And you should be using it not to offload your own cognition. You should be figuring out ways in which it can help you develop your
Mm.
cognition. If I had that kind of tutor as an undergraduate, like I think I would have been a very different kind of student. Because the kinds of questions you can ask it to have you like test you in
Mm.
certain ways, right? In the way that like I would with maybe a roommate or something like that, right?
Right.
Mhm.
I can now
Do
do
that
that
with.
with these tools.
Mhm.
There's also some really interesting ways in which you can like, if you, yeah, like here's a really good example, right? Offloading cognition would be summarize this, copy and paste that summary, put that somewhere else,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
I didn't do any of them on my own thinking. But if I ask them like, hey, I don't understand a bunch of these words, can you help give me examples to
Yes.
illustrate this, right? And then giving it feedback, like, wait a minute, that doesn't quite make sense. How does that connect
Yeah.
with this other thing, right? You're much more like interacting with like a study partner, right? Who's
Mm.
actually knows more than you,
You.
right? And
Yeah.
so like you can use that as a kind of tutor.
Yes.
And that is for me like a game changer. That is something that like just was not available even 3 years ago. It's awesome.
I love your way of depicting it as well, of not only um how it can be used in these alternative ways, because as you were saying, it's like you can kind of use it more as a study partner, but also of just like all the different things that a lot of these models are capable of. um I haven't really heard it explained in a way that was like, why would the university be letting us use AI stuff and not like really tell us why? I mean, like obviously there were like hearings and meetings about it and stuff like that. As a much deeper discussion for later, but the idea of just like, there are ways to use it to help benefit your own cognition is a very interesting avenue to discuss.
Yeah.
And an interesting avenue to discover. Now, unfortunately, I did let this go on a little bit too long, and that is part of my
No
fault
worries.
and part production's fault because they did not give me a timer. But that is okay. But Bert, thank you again
Yeah,
for
thanks for
joining us
having me
here
on. Yeah,
tonight.
I really
Um,
appreciate it.
as a thank you for joining us, you can kind of see me like looking at it, and you already we already talked about it before the stream. But as a thank you for joining us here in the corner today, we would like to offer you a
Awesome.
jersey and make you a honorary member of our
Thank you so
esports
much, guys.
program.
I really appreciate this.
Yeah, of
This is so
course.
fun.
Well, that is all from the Vandal pre-show tonight. I'm going to be
Mhm.
kicking it over to the caster corner, who are going to get you started on the action for tonight. Tonight, our Rainbow Six varsity team is going to be playing University of Buffalo, I believe. It should be a very fun time. But at least from the corner, me, Liliana, and Bert are wishing you a good night. Don't go anywhere. Please do enjoy the games. And yeah, we'll see you around at some point. Peace
Have
out.
fun.